Hello everybody, welcome back to Creating Hanley. My name is Kimberly here at Creating Hanley, and in today's episode we are making these teeny tiny little postage stamp diamonds. And it didn't dawn on me till like right now I can make economy squares. But anyway, check this out. These are super tiny. These are 1.5 inches, 1.5 inch half square triangles. And these were the cutoffs from making this Talkin Turkey quilt block. Remember how I said when you make these half square triangles up here, where are the half square triangles? I guess when we were doing the flip and stitch. That's right. When we were doing the flip and stitch for the flying geese, each one of these squares or ends, I don't know what to call these ends, these triangle ends, had a corresponding quilt opposite side. I can't think right now. It had an opposite triangle to that. So every square half has an extra half. So what I'm doing with these leftovers, I told you I was going to use them in another project, and I'm going to use them in this project right here. So you can see I already made, this right here, these two diamonds, and I'm just going to use the rest of these to make a bunch of these. So I can show you how to do it. Now let me show you something else. If you just switch these around, like you can make patterns like this. Wait, which way would this go? Like this. And do, like that. And do, patterns like this. You could also do, let's see if you can even see that. You could also make everything go in the same direction, right? And do something like that. Let me show you up here, right? So they could all go in the same direction. You could point them all towards each other if you wanted to. But which is exactly what I'm doing. I'm making these diamonds. I think I was thinking like this. Yeah. Instead of the other way. Yeah, you could do that. Anyway, you can see how that works. But I'm decided to make diamonds, and that's only because of how many I had. Now, I had these laid out in a different way, in a different pattern, but it wasn't working like mathematically. So I'm going to put these 4 together and then these 4 together. And then that's going to be 2 blocks. Right? Yes. So this is, now these are super wonky. Like these are not squared up at all. Not at all. But I don't care. I'm going to make it work. You can see some of the corners are missing. This isn't lined up. Like these 2 seams are not lined up. It's scrappy and wonky, and that's okay. But this is 2.5 inches about, and this is 4.5 inches about. This is a little bit less. This is 2.5. So if I put 2 of these together, it's going to be like a block. It's going to be a full block. So maybe like 4.5 by 4.5 ish. Okay. So, yeah. So that's what we're doing here. So let me just show you. Take you over to the machine here. And so, I don't really want to mess these up because it took me a while to figure out which ones go where, because I don't really want the same ones touching. So, I just kind of messed it up for myself, I guess. All right, so I think that works. All right. So, let's do this block right here, or this square. So I'm going to just take these 2 and flip them over right sides together. Now, one thing I am going to really try to do is match the seams. Now, these are not going to nest because I have already ironed all the seams to the dark side. Now, if you wanted to switch that at some point, now is the time to do that. And if you wanted to nest them, now's a good time to do that. And I would recommend that, because if you don't, you're going to get this knot right here. See this knot? That's an insane amount of fabric right there. That's, I don't even know how many layers that is, but that's a lot of layers. And this makes a hard nodule right there in your quilt. So if you're using this in like a pillowcase or something, I hope you don't put your cheek there, because, you know, that's going to be a problem. But when you do that at every junction, that little hard dot is going to be everywhere, all over your quilt project, okay? Now, if you put it with batting, it's probably not going to be super bad, especially if you have a thicker a thicker loft of batting. But anyway, that's all that to say, you want to maybe at this point turn your seams opposite directions so that they nest. All right, now that I've messed around with this so much, I forget what I'm doing. Okay, so we're gonna do this, and I did not square anything off, but these two match up pretty well. So I'm just going to take this over, and I'm doing a scant 1/4 inch seam allowance as best as possible. Same with this. Just lining up as best I can. Now you can see right here, it is way wonky. Okay? So, am I going to worry about that? Not really. I am not squaring anything up. You can if you want. I'm just letting it roll. Yeah, you can see how much this is wonky here. But I'm just going to let it roll, and we'll see how it plays out in the final product. Okay. Now, when you have all of these, you can do a method called chain piecing. And chain piecing is simply running all pieces through at the same time without doing this cut. Yeah, you can see that's not super, it didn't really meet that well at the bottom, although I don't really, it's good enough for me. And then I'm just gonna iron this over to one side. If you really want to be fiddly, you can try to open up the seams. I am not. I'm just going to let it ride. I'm just going to let it do that big knot thing. That's fine. Fine by me. And then so the same with here. That didn't really meet. The triangle didn't really meet either. So that's okay by me. And then I'm just going, oh yeah, see how much off that is? Now if you really wanted to, you can trim that up and, you know, try to make it level and square. I'm not. I'm just gonna let it ride. But what I am really trying to do is just at least line up the seams. And it's not perfect, but it's okay. It's good enough. Do I have an idea of what project this is going to go into? No, I do not. So, see, I'd used a scant 1/4 inch seam allowance, and the thread barely caught this other fabric. Now, it's fine on this side, but it barely caught this one. So, if I tug at it, it probably will come undone if I continue to pull on it. But right now, it's holding. So, you know what? I'm just going to be extra cautious and just put another line of thread down, and then that way I have a little bit more security knowing that there's 2 lines of thread. Okay, so I'm just gonna trim off all these little pieces, little sticking out threads, and then come over to my iron, and you can push that to one side, the seam. Now you can use steam if you want. I just have a dry iron right here. And then there you go. There's another square. You can see the corners, the points here and here, they don't really match up. This one's pretty good. This one's okay. And the center is matched up great. The center is perfect. So there you go. Okay. So we're going to continue to do that on all of these. And then we're going to put these together, right? And we're going to make 2 of these squares, 2 of these pieces. Okay? So go ahead and have fun with that. And I guess I would call this a postage stamp diamond. But this diamond, when you start with 1.5 inch blocks, this one will come out to be around 3.5. No, 2.5 by 2.5. 1, 2, 1, 2. It comes out to be around 2.5 by 2.5 inch block here. These 4. All right, have fun with that. I'll see you on the next episode. Save your scraps. Not only scraps, shreds. Not only shreds, crumbs. Maybe I'll call this a crumb. I don't know. We'll see what I come up with on the title. So, till next time. Bye for now.